Pleasant Unity. Pleasant Unity for the third and final time. Slick and Shiny Productions once more brings you one of their somewhat less than slick and shiny productions as we go around through Westmoreland County looking at the various places where people live and have lived for quite a while in some cases. This mapping comes from 1867. You see Pleasant Unity right here. And what I want to do is do a bit of enlargement to point out just a couple things. I want to point out a few things just around Pleasant Unity. Right down the road going toward Lysippus, here was a blacksmith shop. You see another blacksmith shop right up here. Over here, you see coal mines over here. That become Humphreys eventually. Over here, there is a woolen factory called the Union Woolen Factory. These were people from Pleasant Unity who had been there for quite a while. The Chambers family. This was George Chambers and his sons running a woolen factory where they took in unprocessed wool and put it through a good number of procedures, and then they would weave it into various usable objects, things that you could wear, and blankets and coverlets, I believe. Now this shows you a contemporary view from up in the air looking down at Pleasant Unity. This is pretty much the center of Pleasant Unity here. And this out here is the present day location of where the Chambers woolen factory used to be. This was an advertisement in the newspaper. The George Chamber and Sons woolen factory were looking for wool. They were looking for 100,000 pounds of wool. That's a lot of wool. And if you read it, it tells you some of the things they do. Carding, spinning, roll carding, batting, finishing, dyeing, all the kinds of stuff that a woolen establishment might do. All the things they make, yarns, stocking yarns, all colors, expressly for knitting machines and for hand knitting. Women's and children's all wool stockings, etc., etc. This is a more recent map here. Right up here is where we are looking at. This is the center of Pleasant Unity here. And if you go down over the hill, you're going down toward Lysippus again. You come to what used to be a stop for the streetcar, the trolley. These tracks here were not for railroad, they were for the trolleys. That's the old West Penn trolley stopping down there. It was coming south from Latrobe. And you can see Pleasant Unity up here on the hill. That was at the car barn, I believe up in Derry. Maybe in the 1940s or so. That old car there is from the 30s. Here you can see the agenda or the trips where they go. Latrobe, Youngstown, Whitney, Pleasant Unity, etc. down to Hecla Junction. It shows it starting in Derry from Latrobe, coming down through Bagley and Hostetter and Whitney, and to Pleasant Unity, and then on its way down to Hecla Junction, where it joins the other line coming down from Greensburg. I just put this on the map to show you where the stopping place was in contemporary time. This was where the streetcar came across. And if you look, you can just barely see the outline of the old tracks. They're not there anymore, but there's a trace left coming down this way, went across the stream down here and kept going south. This up here is what we were just looking at, the crossing place of the trolley tracks with Route 130. And next we're going to come up this way up through town, and we're going to approach the intersection here where Church Street goes across. It was a rainy day a couple weeks ago. I was in Mount Pleasant. Did I say Mount Pleasant? I'm supposed to say Pleasant Unity here. I have to be careful that I don't get those mixed up. I was heading down the street. It was a rainy day. I was dodging the raindrops. You can see the bank over there. It's a newer building. It kind of stands out among some of the older structures. This building here is not terribly old, although it could be about 100 years old. I think it's after the fire in 1917. But maybe somebody who knows better about that could tell me. It looks like it's a place that's waiting for somebody to come and fix it up and take care of it. This building over here is a very old building. You can just tell by the configuration of it, especially that curtain wall chimney up there, double chimneys. That was an old inn, probably from the days when the stagecoaches came through. An inn and a tavern, very likely. That gives you a close-up view. It's fortunately been well taken care of, although not terribly well preserved. But, you know, who am I to criticize somebody who's taking care of an old structure? This is some years ago when work was being done on it to fix it up and keep it, keep it viable. That was quite a while ago. That was when it was called Jordan's Hotel. And these people could have been the Jordan family out here. That hotel was there when there was a very bad fire in Pleasant Unity in 1917. And there were a number of people who simply did not have a house to go home to. And so the people at Jordan's Hotel gave out free coffee and sandwiches to the people who no longer had a house. Maybe they give them free room too, I don't know. But there were people in town, a number of people who no longer had their houses. They had to figure out what they were going to do next. This door on the hotel here, the old hotel, this actually figured in a history, an architectural history of Western Pennsylvania. It was an example of a type of decorative entrance with the side lights and the decorative features on it, pilasters. A nice door. That's no longer there. And this window is no longer there. It's been replaced by glass blocks. And I think we've come to about the end of our things on Pleasant Unity. So I think we're going to say so long now. We'll see you again.